Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Wednesday, June the 6th, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. We do create multiple hypotheses, as nobody can tell you what the market's going to do. Therefore, we create two main hypos or scenarios or trade plans, whatever you want to call them. And then we wait for the market to open up and see who takes control. And then we execute the plan that best suits what the market is doing. We also have alternative hypos, hypo 3 and hypo 4 for our range extensions or trend type scenarios. And then sometimes, like yesterday, we have an alternative balancing type hypo, and hypo 5 is actually what we got yesterday. And we'll get into that in just a minute. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, please send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website. There's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to, and we do live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day for our subscribing members. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So I want to take a minute today and just veer off what we normally do. And I want to talk about how to keep your mind open and be able to transition from one hypo to the other. Usually when I'm looking at switching from a hypo 1 or 2 into a hypo 3 or 4, I'm looking at the daily range and when, or a key line in the sand, and once we get above or below it, I can start shifting my thought process to further expansion. Now yesterday we had our main hypo was an open auction in range. We were looking for a move down into closing the gap and the VPOC, possibly a trip down to the value area low, because this was a very good Gaussian distribution. So we were looking for a possibility of moving down through the value area and then rotating up towards that zipper measured move that we talked about yesterday at 53.50. We had another one at 54.50, and then we were ultimately looking for the move up into that 57 microcomposite VPOC, or the next destination. Hypo 2 was an open auction in range, a push up, a false breakout, take out the overnight low, and then find sellers and rotate us down through and come down and test this gap zone. Hypo 3 was a breakdown day and a push down further back towards that 25.18 area. Hypo 4 was a continuation day and a move up into the 60s. But we had an alternative hypo yesterday, which I don't usually do. And, there was a reason why. It's because we were broken out and we had a tight range. So I was thinking that there was a possibility we were going to get an outside day and break both the high and the low of the range. And that's exactly what it turned out. So we opened auction and it looked like we were in hypo 1. And we come back in and we test, we break out, we go up into the 52.50 for the IB high, we come back down, and then we go up and put a double top. Now at this point in time, you're thinking, okay, double top probabilities. We had the RB3, which was also a 56% probability, and 76% probability, which it did do, but we were looking for the extension up into, what was the RB3 extension? The RB3 extension was 54.75. That never happened. They broke down through, and then we got inside of the value area, and we failed to get back above the mid. So at this point in time, you're shifting your thoughts to, okay, we have a possible hypo 2, and we're looking for a trip down through to the value area low. And that happens, then we rotate and we fail at the mid again, and we go down and we test below the range and into the gap zone, come back up, and then come back down. Now we have a double top and we have a double bottom. And then we start drifting back and we get inside of the mid and we push through, okay, the mid. And I posted both in our live room and in the convergence room, I said, we have a double top and we have a double bottom. Okay, one of my hypotheses was a outside day, and I posted to caution the shorts that if we got, there was a single up, there was a TPO single at 55 and a quarter. I said, if we get back above that 55 and a quarter, okay, I'm sorry, I think it was 45 and a quarter. It was 45 and a quarter. I said, if we get above that TPO single, then we're likely, okay, to leave the double bottom in, okay, and go neutral. And I was looking for a neutral to neutral extreme day. And basically, we moved up and we got, the auction was interrupted. Auction interruptus. And, we were making the move, but because of the lack of volume and the lack of the OTF participation, we had very low volume yesterday. The auction just ended. And I was talking to a person and I said, you watch, during the ETH session, they're going to make this move and we're going to get what would have been a neutral day. If you look at what happened after the close in the the ETH session, the 4:30 to 5 o'clock, what do? We would have, gone and had that neutral day. And then, since then, what did we do? We rotated up into that 57 area, and we're finding value, okay, where we tried to hold value before. So I just wanted to do that because I want everybody to understand how the hypos, a lot of people always say, well, you have all these hypos. Of course, you're going to be right. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to understand what the market's going to do based on what it's showing me and have a plan so I don't have to think about it on the fly and be able to shift my bias, okay, from one hypo to another based on what the market is actually doing. And that will get you out of trouble or keep you out of trouble 100 times more than it will get you into trouble. So let's get into the session. I'm going to have to go through this quickly because I don't want to make this real long. 8:30, we had news. We had trade balance, okay, beat. Unit labor cost, beat. Building permits in Canada were down. Exports were a miss. Trade balance was a little bit better. We have 10 o'clock. We've got IV PMI out of Canada, but the big one today will be the crude inventories at 10:30 and all the associated gasoline and heating oil, news. 12 o'clock, we've got Bank of England member McCafferty speaking, and that's it for the news. There's not a lot of news today. Of course, there's always the headline news with Trump and China and North Korea and Italy and everything that's going on in the world, so we have to be careful of that. Each morning, I do the same routine. I don't vary from it. I do this for a purpose. It's a simple routine, but I'm telling you, it will, over time, it will help you out. I start with a simple candlestick chart. I use a 9 EMA, 20 SMA. I start on a monthly, and I work my way down. What am I doing? I'm looking to see where we are in terms of the trend. Do we have good slope and separation of the moving averages? Is price paralleling the 9? Or are we challenging the 9, breaking below or above the 9? Or are we breaking below the 9 and the 20 and possibly getting a trend change? So monthly, one-time framing, 14 months, breaks the one-time framing in February, comes and challenges the 9 EMA, but never able to close below it. And we get continuation. We've got good sloping separation. The overall trend doesn't even get challenged, okay, on the monthly until we get back into the mid 2600s, and never gets violated until we get into the low 2500s. Going to the weekly, we were looking at a possible trend change. We were below the 9 and the 20. They failed to hold, and we were looking for this trend change. What do? They take it right back, and then we've been fighting, okay, this, and now we're getting the MA cross, and we're getting the possibility of a continuation pattern. And going to the daily, you can see that we were in this symmetrical triangle, and then we finally get our breakout of the triangle in the last 2 days, and now we're getting slope. We don't have quite separation, so the trend's not really strong, but the trend is a continuation pattern up, and still looking for this to move up. But can we come back and test the 9 again down at the 27.3250, or even come down and test the 25 area? Absolutely. Going to, and it still doesn't violate the trend. Going to the intraday, you can see that in the last few sessions, we've gone into this nice, trend, good slope and separation, held the first test back to the 9. We are losing a little bit of separation, so it wouldn't be anything for us to come back into the 51.75 to test that. And then finally going to the 30-minute, you can see that most of the night we've been trending up, and we came down and challenged the trend, and broke, and now we're getting a move down, and we're getting a possibility of a trend change. And it doesn't really matter even if we come down. I'd be looking for a move down into this support level right here in the 53.54 level, most likely a test of the prior day range. So let's take a look at the structure of the market. And each day I like to narrate the auction. So, and I just sent somebody a message privately this morning and saying, the first thing you got to do is to accept the auction for what it is. The market is nothing more than a mechanism to advertise price to buyers and sellers. The market is moving down not to find more sellers. The market is moving down to advertise to the buyers. Therefore, early sellers can then be buyers, and new buyers can step in and find value. And conversely, the market is not moving up to find more buyers. The market is moving up to advertise to the sellers. Therefore, early buyers can then be sellers, and new sellers can find value and step in. Why is that important to think about? Well, when you start learning to draw your microcomposites and understand balance and imbalance, and the fact the market is going to move from balance to imbalance back to balance, and that back to balance is usually at areas where they tried to hold value, or they found value. So if we narrate the story, when we get this long trend, we find balance down here in the 58, 83, 86 area. We get this beautiful trend up. We put in new all-time highs. I keep talking about this, that we have an unequalized all-time high. The actual all-time high is 28.83 and a quarter, adjusted to the June contract. That was put in the Globex. This is an RTH, a regular trading hour chart. So between the RTH and the Globex, we have two different all-time highs. That is never, very rarely, I should say, left alone. This is generally taken out, and we come up in the RTH session and take out the all-time high that was put in the Globex. So we come up here, and then we put in the new all-time high, and we tried to hold value. Where did we try to hold value? Up here at the 28.32. This is going to be a destination point for me if we go into price discovery. We couldn't hold value there. They gapped down, and they pushed down, and they move all the way down to a former microcomposite VPOC, or former balance. They find the buyers down there, they rotate up, and they try to get back into the 2800s. Okay, and where do they fail? Right at a former price acceptance level. sellers step in, we rotate down, and since then, let me just, I gotta just make an adjustment here. I don't know why they keep doing. Oh, it's not gonna allow me to do it right now. Oh, crap. Sorry, I wanted to just change my value area to cyan so you could see it better. But since we've come down, we've been in this large value area that basically goes from 41.75 down to this 26.30 area, and we've been chopping back and forth. Then while we were doing this, our VPOC, our microcomposite VPOC, was down in the 2669 area. And, we're just chopping through. We test both sides of it. And we come up and we create this, this new balance area up here. And the microcomposite in the beginning was down here at the 2607 75, the VPOC. But then we come up and we just chop in here. And then finally, we get the shift of the longer time frame microcomposite up, and then we get the shift of the smaller time frame up, and all the time frames, okay, balance out at this new VPOC at the 27, 18, 19 area, and then we get our gap up day, and we break above the value area at the 41.75 in our key line in the sand, and then we create this 2 days of balance, and we've got nice kurtosis around this 46.75, and then in the Globex, because of the auction was interrupted, we go up and we hit, and where do we go up to? We go up into this 27.57 area, and then the sellers have stepped in so far, but we're holding outside of the prior day range. So we are in longer time frame price discovery right now. They broke out. They usually try to determine a fair value on the breakout. They have that. It's at 47. That will be a major level to pay attention to. And then they make the move in the Globex, and now we're going to get another a gap up day. Possibly. We still have time to come back into the prior day range, but right now we're above it. And we've got this 56.75 microcomposite VPOC. We've got a target up here at 61.75. We've got a naked close above us, and we've got actually right now I think it's just above us, and we've got a naked VPOC at 27.60. So 27.60 and 27.61.75 are our targets, okay, for our hypo 1 today for a continuation day. And then, we're going to be watching the range high, the 52 and 52 and a half, to see if we hold outside of the prior day in the 2-day range, microcomposite range. If we do get in, we're looking for that move to close the VPOC and the gap, and then a possible bounce from there. But if that doesn't hold, then I'm shifting to hypo 2, and hypo 2 is going to have a target down here back to the 2-day balance at the 47, 46.75. Then our key line in the sand that was our key line in the sand above now becomes our key line in the sand below. Because if we break below the 41.75, what do we have? We have a weak low from yesterday at the low at 39 and a move back into this gap zone, okay? And I'll be targeting the mid of that gap and more likely come back and test the value area high of the microcomposite that goes from May the 9th, okay? And it sounds complicated, but it's not, okay? You're just paying attention to, using the old if, then, that strategy. If they hold this level, then they're likely to do that and move to the next level, and I can exercise a trade based on that hypothesis. I know I'm taking a long time. I shouldn't try to do teaching when I'm trying to do this. I should just do the session. So right now, the overnight inventory is pretty much about 80% net long in time and value. We've got a P-shaped profile. okay, and we're coming down and we're testing the mid and the LVN from the overnight session down here at the 53, 75, 54 area. Our VPOC has shifted up, so they are trying to accept value higher, but right now, okay, they couldn't hold value, and we're moving down towards the prior day. We had very light volume yesterday. We've got normal volume in the Globex though. So we're back to normal volume, and you can see down here that we have had some OTF participation. Now that could be sellers stepping in at that 57. Okay, so we don't know that, but that 57 area is going to be important. If we get up and we accept that price in the RTH session and get above it, okay, the targets are 60 and 61.75 with a possibility of moving up into the 69 on expansion. So setting our levels up, we have an overnight high of 58. We have a overnight low at 50. Our average true range, our full session daily 20 period average true range is running at 2620. So off of the overnight low, our upside daily ATR is all the way up at 76.25. Off of the overnight high of 58, our downside daily ATR target is at 31.75. Okay, why is that important to understand? Well, right now, based on the overnight high or overnight low, we have capabilities going up to 76.25 or down to 31.75 without expanding, okay, the current average true range. Our overnight VPOC is not likely to shift. It is at 56.75, right in line with the microdeposit VPOC. Our overnight high is just above that. We're trading just outside of value. I'm going to put a trade area down at the value area low because this is a valid value area. And the gap is still open because we haven't tested from above the gap. So that stays and it remains open. We've got a slight gap, okay, that's going to happen against the close from yesterday of 51.50. My main hypothesis, all right, so let's just go do this. I should not bother with my drawing tools, but people keep asking me to do it. All right, so I am looking for an open auction out of range. I'm looking for a move up into this 55, okay? Come down and test into the prior day range. This is the first spot that I'm looking for buyers, but somewhere between here and the 47, okay, I'm looking for buyers to step in, base, push out of the prior day range, okay, come back and test it, hold, and then push through the overnight high up into this 61.75. That is hypo 1. Okay, hypo 2 is a open auction out of range. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Move up into the 58 and somewhere between 58 and 61. I'm looking for sellers to come in, test the range high, fail, push down into the 47, and basically test the value area low and go sideways and chop, okay, and close somewhere in around the what will be a 3-day VPOC at that point in time. That is hypo 2. Hypo 3 is a gap and go day. Okay, gap rules are in effect. Okay, although I really think we'll come down and we'll probably close the gap, then immediately buyers take control, take us up into the 60, 61, and then push up into the, up into the, the 70, the 2670 to 2675 area. That is hypo 3. And I put hypo 1, 2, and 3 at the start of the session, okay, as a high possibility. If we get a test drive or a open drive, don't try to fade this next move. We've got 2 days of balance. So any driving action, okay, on the open, you do not want to fade that. You want to make sure that we are open auction out of range and getting two-sided action before you try to fade any move up on this open, because we get 2 days of balance, we get a gap. This could be the gap and go day that goes trend, and you don't want to get stuck in the trend. And finally, but not last, we have a open auction out of range, failure to take out the overnight high, take out the naked close, but fail to take out the overnight high, push down through to the VPOC, push through the value area, and then move down. I should have tightened this up, and pushes down into that that mid of the gap. And sorry, I didn't have that set up here. Let me just. Why is it not giving me my drawing tool? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm not very good with drawing tools. I can read a chart, I just can't manipulate it. So I'd be looking for the move down into the 38 and possibly a push down into the 34 to 31 and test the week open. The week open is 27.31. So those are my 4 main hypotheses for ES. Quickly go to gold. This is way too long. We got back into the 1300s yesterday, and we didn't quite get up to the 1305. I'm sorry, yes, we did get up to the 1305, but then the seller stepped in and we came back down. And again, we're stuck right here around the composite VPOC, but we're holding the 1300s. If we fail the 1300s, I'll be shorting this. Okay, this is what I've been looking for, a move back down towards the 59.50 again, and possibly down here into the 59.50, the 1295.90, and down here to the 1285 level. If we can hold the 1300 and get above the 1305.10, then I'm looking for a move back up to the other side of this balance up here at 1309 and 1311 area. Anything above there, I'm looking for the move back into this balance zone right here at the 1319, 1320 area. That's what I'm looking at in gold. I haven't been doing a ton of gold trading this month yet because we've been in too much of balance around this micro composite. I'm waiting for them to go into price discovery. That's going to complete our pre-market session. Sorry it's so long. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.